I started a push-up challenge on February 12th, guys, and I told myself that I was going to do the price of Bitcoin divided by 1,000 push-ups every single day until Bitcoin hits 100K. So that was on the 12th. So I went ahead and put a volume-weighted anchor on the 12th. I went to the daily chart, and I went to the 12th. I went to that candle, and I put an anchor on that shit. And to put an anchor, you just go over here to the left side of the toolbar, guys, and you go over to where it has like the long position and short position tool, and you go to volume-based indicators, and you select that anchored Vwap tool, and it gives you a volume-weighted average price line that anchors at that point. So it's not a moving average, and it's not an EMA either. It's a lot different than a moving average, because whereas a moving average is a rolling set of data, like the older data gets pushed off the block, it no longer matters. A VWAP has that original data point, and that original data point only gets more and more important with time. So as this price action has unfolded around my push-up challenge's VWAP line, you can see that my push-up challenge has gone better than it basically has gone as good as it could go, and it could just be the fact that any anchor in this previous area here would have worked well. You could call it my market intuition as well, but you could see that there was multiple sick longs off of my push-up challenge VWAP here, and I see that we're at that line again. So obviously I preach, like, the market doesn't give a crap about us. What's going on in our lives has nothing to do with the markets. But so this is just like a funny exercise, but also CryptoFace and I have always had like a little bit of like magical powers when it comes to just drawing random stuff on the chart and like watching it play out. And we definitely did get a bounce off of this line. So you guys might want to put an anchor on the February the 12th and see if this push-up challenge is like the ultimate line of the bull run. That would be sick. Is anyone in the chat using anchored VWAPs in their trading now? I like it because, volume was a little hard for me to understand when I first got into trading. Volume is just the number of shares that are traded. Like if, it could be 10 people trading it 10 times or 100 people trading it one time. So volume's a little hard. It's different than price. It's a different set of data. It's like fire and water. It's like two different elements, So having a volume indicator that is interwoven with the price and is actually displayed like amongst the candles and serves as this steady guide for the price action is very useful. It was very useful for me in understanding volume. And the way a VWAP takes volume into account, when there's a big spike in volume, a VWAP line will shoot up a little bit toward the price action to account for that. So you'll see whenever there was like, the price might not even go up, but if there was a lot of volume at that point, the VWAPs will kind of like, it'll like jerk up a little bit, and that's different than like the daily reset of the intraday strategy. It's like the VWAP just kind of does a good job of like trying its best to keep up with the volume as well as the price action. So that's why this line from February 12th is catching bottoms, and it's not like a simple moving average that would have simply been left in the dust by the uptrend. We definitely saw some tiring signs, like some bear divs and all that stuff, but because we are in such a strong uptrend, I've been maintaining a bullish bias, which doesn't mean that I'm like calling longs all the time, but and it's not that I'm ignoring bearish signs either. Bearish signs are a great point in the markets to take profits, to like cover your fees, to reduce risk and all those things. Like the bearish parts in a bull run are just as important as the lows in a bull run. But what we love to see in a bull run is waves below the 60 line. Like, see, you got this BitBoy green dot in an uptrend. Like the reason why BitBoy believed that those green dots worked all the time is because when he started using NickCipher, he was in an uptrend, and the green dots did work all the time. So when you have a strong trend bias, trading is a lot easier. There's only one half of the waves that you have to pay attention to. And I think that's been always the secret edge of my brother's basic strategy, is like, he knows when the market is trending, and so he's able to apply like a bare bones basic MC strategy with like basic confluence to that. So I really don't like trading in the chop. I like catching a trending market, like a big bounce off of VWAP in like a bullish market, or a big rejection off the VWAP in like a bear scenario, such as the ETF dump. Yeah, good to see Jason Casper in the chat. Thank you so much, man. You know, you're a fucking legend, Jason, and you know, I feel like I haven't earned my way through. I basically have to like do a bunch of spotlights and like get experience under my belt talking to traders before I can work up to the point of like sitting side by side with you in the matrix and discussing trading and MC and all these things. You're kind of like the final boss for me, Jason, and so for you to like recognize me and like help me with my following so early on, it shows that you're a good trader, bro, because you like invest in people, places, and things at their low. Like you're just the GOAT, bro. I can't there's really nothing else to say, you know. But just know that like our time is coming, man. We'll be doing some collabs, and I think what you've done with the treadmills and the lifestyle is far ahead of its time. Like imagine a future where all the OTC Bitcoin is like bought up by powerful institutions and entities, and like a scenario where like the dollar collapses, right? It's not like the government and like institutions that people go after for their Bitcoin. It's you and me. It's like the guys who've been here. It's like the medium-sized fish. And like I'm well protected myself, but only somewhat. Like I'm in the city, you know? And so if there was ever a future where, you know, people are breaking in and trying to steal people's crypto more than ever before, like there's like an epidemic of like, since we truly are our own banks at this point in history in the future, that's actually scary, because every house on the block is a bank that could get robbed, you know. So Jason Casper's lifestyle of being far away from the bullshit, simply being an observer not only of the markets but of society itself, is he's so ahead of its time that basically he's like that guy on the Titanic who was there since the beginning of the movie, but he's like a naval officer. He's not a part of the main plot. He's simply there in case the ship starts sinking. You know what I'm saying? Like his purpose is not revealed until the time is right, basically. So I think that, you know, even though I'm back, and I don't think that correlates particularly with this particular moment in time, but I know that there's a point in the future where being isolated and in your own community and holding up your own boat, yes, who's going to carry the boats, right? I forget what I named the stream, but I think I named the stream like Crypto David Goggins, and like Jason Casper's definitely one of the dudes like carrying the boats, man. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, bro. You've been reading Brian Shannon's book, Kevin? Yeah, dude. Brian Shannon has he's the inventor of the anchored Vwap tool, and he's got a lot of great things to say about. He'll break down like the basic terms of trading for you really well in his book, and give you like a refresh and perhaps like a new perspective on looking at things like volume and price and all these things. For instance, one takeaway that I got with his VWAPs, the way he reads them, is if a VWAP is ascending, see how this VWAP is ascending? That allows it to be more bullish. Like if this VWAP was on a slight down trajectory, I wouldn't give it as much credence. But until price falls below and like punctures this line, and we begin to take this VWAP into like a downward trajectory, then when we come over it, you're a little more inclined to short that, you know, or to think it's going to go down. But the fact that it's an ascending anchor is pretty bullish. We're in an uptrend, it's like biased uptrend, so there's a lot of like things layering on top, and I'm not saying this is something you should FOMO into with me at all, like not at all, because I'm actually not trading this. This is just an idea I'm just laying down. I just want to see if it plays out. I don't necessarily want to trade off of my push-up challenge quite yet, because it's like inserting myself into the markets, which is a big no-no in trading. Abraham says, kind of struggling sometimes with anchored VWAPs because you need to check the chart constantly for the bounce or break. That's a common issue with any kind of dynamic support or resistance, right? You know, you may be used to trading with straight lines of support and resistance, and simply setting orders, you know, like a limit take profit at some resistance, or like I get that, like having the level is important, but you got to remember that support and resistance is not a straight line. It's always been an area, you know what I'm saying? So a dynamic support and resistance isn't too big a deal. It's like the area around it is still meaningful. So it's up to you whether you want to, you know, put your order right at the line, or a little over, or a little under. But that doesn't make it any less important. It's definitely like a different way of looking at things. But the anchors definitely give you an idea of the trading range. I know Jason Casper's really great at isolating a trading range. Once we start going sideways, he's in there putting like, here's the top of the range and here's the bottom. And so I put an anchor at the top, the local top that we had back here. And you can see it gives you an idea of the trading range somewhat. And it gives you an idea that this is going to be a consolidation. Like once you get to around this point and you see these two VWAPs like converging in on each other, you know that the price action is going to cling to them, and we're going to see some play, you know, in between them. And it's like, it's not just going to go straight up or straight down. It's like going to get sandwiched in between these two conflicting sentiments, the rising anchor and then the falling anchor. And in an uptrend, that falling anchor, this top anchor here, it represents the bear sentiment. So if that line is ever overcome, it's a potential indication that the uptrend could continue. So I like to have the anchor set there. In fact, I would say that since we got a new high, since we got this high here at, this went all the way up to 53. We're going to put an anchor there, and we're just going to see if the price can come over that, and that would represent reclaiming on top of that bear sentiment that was created by this recent dump. So that would be like an extra confidence boost if we could get a candle close like over that new freshly created bearish VWAP there. If it rejects off that level, you know, we might have to see some play back down to the push-up line down there. As for the intraday strategy, which is the white VWAP line here, there were some great plays. I see a couple good support bounces off of this back up to the top of the trading range. Even back here was this was a good long that in the VIP I put like a long position here. It took a while to play out and go all the way to the target, which was at the top of the range, but it did play out, and it didn't fall below and hit any kind of stop loss. So it was like a long duration, but textbook long trade by longing the BitBoy green dots and like the sub -60 waves in an uptrend. And you can see when it when it reclaimed the VWAP, it had a continuation there. And back here, like when things got tired, you see the price is coming up, right? And we're kind of slamming on the VWAP. It's starting to interact with that intraday strategy differently than previously, and it's starting to contend with it more. The intraday VWAP is becoming more like a steady guide, like a midline for the price action. That's your first sign of weakness, right? So once you start seeing, you know, the closes below, there's little short scalps in there, but since we're in an uptrend, I prefer to trade with the grain. That's how I profited in the ETH21 bull run, is I never shorted. I waited simply for deep cuts into the -60 momentum. I was waiting for green dots, and I was a bull, you know what I'm saying? But that being said, these signs of weakness are like great points to not close out your whole position if you're in like a swing trade, but definitely like shave profits, cover your fees, all that kind of stuff. So I am not trading right now. I'm waiting for an ID because I want to trade on Bybit. But at some point I realized that like I have an important job for MC, to be like an educator and to talk about trading psychology and to like do a lot of research and become very wise like for you guys, so that basically every day I can cook and like provide lessons, because I feel like we're at an important part in the markets where I personally feel like the boatman. I feel like I was calling Jason Casper the boatman, but I feel like I'm on it's the sinking of the Titanic, and the Titanic sank, and I've been like flipping over dead FloppingGroper, seeing if they're alive, like shining my flashlight, you know, listening for whistles in the water. And I am that guy. I got that firefighter personality that like I can handle the morbid truths of trading. Like I've spoken to traders who have been in some of the darkest places throughout the years. And I myself was in a dark place, multiple dark places. I was rescued by a firefighter when I was 19. I almost passed away in a house fire, and like I was picked up and carried out of a burning building with no pulse by a hero. You know, a man like that, you know. And coincidentally, a lot of people in trading are like ex-military. And I definitely see trading as a war. I see, especially trading cryptos, as being kind of a part of the financial revolution. And sometimes I get tripped out because the word trader sounds like traitor, you know, like traitor, like, but I do love my country. I love freedom and like all that stuff. And it's a tough message to preach to the masses. Like I've always been an alien in my life. You know, back in high school, no one understood my ideas on money, and freedom and liberty. And so I was the odd man out. Like no one understood my ass. And that's partly why I was so isolated and like had issues growing up, like fitting in, you know, because I have these deep thoughts on shit like the financial system. Even when I was like 13 to 16 years old, I was thinking about this shit. Clay says, in the military, you have to adapt and overcome. Same applies to trading. Figure it the fuck out or don't make it back home. Yes, bro. You know, when you're the hero, you have to clutch up. Clutching up in markets is super important. Being the last man standing in a market is where the majority of the reward lies. So your ability to stick to your guns and clutch it up and clutch it out to the very end, and actually bring the results home to your country and your people, that's huge in trading. It's like so important. Do I need a thumbnail designer or video editor? Certainly I do. Can you tell? I'm just doing like AI pictures and like, bro, I'm honestly flooded with like content ideas. Like every day I cook like 6 different things, and it's tough what to post and what's not, what's cringe and what isn't. And that's like my signal that I needed to start live streaming. I basically got to like simplify my Instagram game and my YouTube short game down to something like very simple and repetitive, but then just start going live like damn near every day, and just laying out the truth, like my truths of MC, selling MC, teaching MC, and simply just being here to answer your guys' questions. So anytime you guys have a question about MC, like a good question, there is no bad questions really, but anytime you guys have a question about MC, go ahead and say it in the chat, because I love answering questions. What's up, Crypto Pennies? Good to see you, man. What's up, Crypto Coons? What's up, Abe? All right, Shoob. Yeah, hit me up on Insta, man. We'll talk about it, bro. I'll see what you got cooking for sure. Let me do some macro analysis real quick. So we're gonna review, I'm clearing all these drawings here. We're gonna go to the daily. So we're gonna put an anchor at the ETF top. We're gonna put an anchor at the new year. So that's a year to date anchored VWAP. Basically how Bitcoin's doing from the start of the year to now. And then we're gonna do one at that bottom. So you can see that all of these VWAPs are ascending and we're over them. So it's a tough point in the markets to be calling big shorts like you know the future, right? It's really tough to be doing that right now. If we were under these anchors, then we would be more empowered to have a short bias and to be looking for resistance to short as momentum traders, I'm saying. As a range trader, do whatever the hell you want. You know what I'm saying? But as a momentum trader, trading with the grain, it's tough. It's, you know, if you're wondering why you're like, ooh, do I short? Like, it's because there's a lot of cards stacked up against you if you're shorting, and that definitely affects the trading. Appreciate you and Face helping change lives, man. Thank you so much, man. I definitely feel righteous in my return, my coming back. This bull market, I'm not the captain of the ship. If you remember, like, me and CF would play Battleship all the time in the last bull cycle, and we were definitely like captains of our own battleships in that cycle, and we like played the part in the movie perfectly. Like, we went down with the ship, not in terms of like money. Like, I did sell at the iceberg event of the last bull cycle, and I made out pretty good. I got a house, a BMW, like I set myself up pretty good. But spiritually, I wasn't planning for a long bear market. Like, I wasn't building the mentality or planning ahead, like in reality, like simply with the numbers in the charts. My Instagram is NickCipher. NickCipher, same as my YouTube. Yeah. But yeah, like, so this time around, I definitely see myself more as like a man of service. There was a lot of students that I felt in the MC community that probably fell through the cracks. Let's see, Cyborg is a good dude. We like Cyborg. And I put Cyborg on with the Trader Spotlight because he was key to our success. And when it came to these Trader Spotlights, this is about me. The Spotlight series is about me breathing life into the MC community. It's not about me gaining clout, and you know, it's about you guys and like the people who made this community great. How's the volume on this song? Is this too loud? Yeah, but yeah, the Spotlight series is about like what made MC great and reminding everyone and myself of that. We've got so many great educators who are out there murdering, and they use NickCipher. Yeah, it's a little loud for me too. Let me, there we go. So yeah, the first spotlight I did was Trader Geo. Trader Geo's got a fiery personality. He reminds me of me when I was younger, how I used to talk to the audience, you know, calling them flopping gropers and executing these like high win rate, high leverage, high risk, aggressive trades, and like pretending like I knew everything about the markets, when in reality I only knew like my narrow edge really well. And so Trader Geo represented, in my mind at least, like a younger version of myself. And I wanted to elevate him because he's been doing a lot of good work with people, inspiring people to trade. That's the most important thing, is raising the participation in this trading revolution. It's like a resurgence of the trading revolution. And so inviting him on the channel and letting him know that he's recognized and giving him the credit he deserves for the work he's been putting in for NickCipher was huge. And you know, he's not a traitor ego, he's Trader Geo. He's gonna evolve into, the Geo dude is gonna evolve into a mountain. And so that kid is definitely gonna go places. The second one, Cyborg, he's just a good friend of the channel and a user of MC and a magnificent artist. And so I wanted to highlight how there's different types of people in trading. There's artists and all sorts of people from all walks of life coming at this from different angles. And then Dylan Waves, you know, Dylan Waves isn't live trading, but he's got as many followers as me from sheer hard work and discipline and dedication to the charts. And so I wanted to highlight a student trader. You know, I thought that was important to highlight like someone who's like honing their craft and improving over time. And then finally, I felt like I had to hit one out of the park, you know. So I reached out to Dr. Slater, who's one of the sharpest minds in MC, not only underrated but very talented. And I found out that she got a whole team together and they're murdering the Forex markets. And I was able to contend with them in that trader spotlight, and they're just really good people, really friendly, with really great mechanical strategies that honestly, like, I could probably learn from to better serve my community with like our Vwap strategy. So I'm gonna be like, you know, talking with them more here and there. I might get some advice about like how to approach Vwap trading from a more mechanical standpoint, because the Vwaps, the way I traded them was definitely like subjective, right? Which is good for like a skilled trader, someone who's been here for a long time, not necessarily as much for like someone who's new. So I recognize that I have a little work to do, educating, like better teaching and like better executing my strategy. But it's important that I just start live streaming and I show you guys the process. I don't want to just show up with a 6-pack and the big trades, and you know what I'm saying? Like that would have been fake. I was called to return to NickCipher, and I see the price moving and the things happening, and it's more important that I'm simply here right now than it is that I come on here perfectly ready to go, if that makes sense. Because now that I've built my way up to this point, I'm here now. I can answer the questions, and I can engage with the community. Yeah, man. Crown Chakra is another key player in the NickCipher community. I think I might do him, maybe not the next trader spotlight, but he's coming, because some of his words are eerily pertaining to like what the things I've been going through. And he wrote a lot of these songs like years ago, and I'm only just now listening to the songs and like understanding the deep trading spiritual truths embedded in Crown Chakra's music. There's so many like pieces of the puzzle that Crown gave me, such as like, I'm going hard lately, I'm the crypto David Goggins, you know. He said that like years ago. He says things like, what's understood needs no explanation, and that inspired me to, with my push-up challenge, not even have a description, just have the push-up challenge. Like, you watch the reels of me doing these push-ups and it just is what it is. I'm just putting work into the blockchain. That's all it is. You don't need a caption on that. And so, yeah, just so much deep like wisdom that I don't know where it comes from in Crown, but he's obviously just got a lot of life experience and like just very wise. If you have a firm grasp of human psychology, you will understand markets, because markets trading psychology. Like I would guess that Jordan Peterson would be like a really great trader, because if you understand human psychology better than anyone, then like of course you'd be a great trader. So I actually just posted a short where it's Jordan Peterson talking about an interaction between people, like when someone bothers you, and then they bother you again, and like the third time is like what breaks the camel's back. Like, and you play out his words with a bar replay of what happened to Bitcoin over the last couple years, and it like lines up, like when he's talking about the person bothering the other person, like the chart dumps, and when he's talking about like them settling their differences, the chart pumps. And like the way Jordan Peterson talks about social interactions and psychology, I just implore you guys to like be imagining charts and like applying his words to markets, and trying to tie the threads between the great teachers of our time and trading. And that's a big part of my goal. You know, marketing myself as a emotional trader, a spiritual trader, which is kind of taboo in trading, right? This is like some touchy shit, you know? A lot of people would like not want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, because trading is about being mechanical and emotionless and all that stuff. But there's some divine shit in the charts for sure, you know? I think it deserves being explored. And philosophy, I love trading philosophy, exploring trading spirituality. And trading spirituality would basically be, and like anytime you're meditating on a win or a loss, that's trading spirituality. Anytime you're reflecting on anything or visualizing anything, that is trading spirituality. So you guys may have already been practicing a lot of this already in your trading journey. And this is not about like any one particular messiah or one particular religion at all. This is actually more about like spiritual discipline, and maintaining your passion for trading, your love for trading, your sense of duty for like trading for the right reasons and stuff. Like this is all trading spirituality. It's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. It was such a boundary for me to cross this point to start live streaming again. And I'm glad I'm back, man. I feel like you know, when you like before you stream, if you guys ever do start streaming, what's up, Alex Crypto? What's up, Crypto? How you doing, man? Otter Gang. But yeah, if any of you guys ever think about streaming, you know, you're probably thinking about all the bad things that can go wrong, and there definitely were bad things that went wrong for me to get here on this page in front of you. Like my stream key wasn't working all weekend, like my YouTube wasn't linked to my thing, and the window was all messed up, or like my picture was all screwed up. I was like, oh, like messing with this for like hours and shit. So yeah, like you're gonna have to deal with all that stuff if you want to elevate your voice and be the man, you know. But if you swim through the swamp of bullshit, like you'll get to the other side. And now I'm at the point where I just push the stream button and I'm like, boom. And so I feel more empowered to like do this tomorrow, you know, like I'm energized. Let me get a drink real quick, and I'll be right back. What's up, you greasy chickens? Longing to farm 100x. Yeah, so my streams are going to be a little more calorically dense. Like, I know CF actually is executing trades, and so, you know, he'll be in like the middle of the night or early in the morning actually managing positions, and so it's understandable that, you know, he needs his downtime and there may be like gaps in the stream. But I'm going to try to keep my streams like engaging, answering questions, and like a steady flow state, so that there's value in there, because I'm not live trading. This isn't like a live trading stream yet. This is more like for you guys to answer or to ask questions, for me to get my thoughts off my chest, so I don't have to like be stuck editing shorts for like hours and hours a day. Like, I'm done with that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, at a certain point you start cooking so frequently and so nonstop that you got to evolve. Oh, this is my song. Cyborg remixed one of my songs. All right, so we're reclaiming the intraday Vwap here. Interestingly enough, looks like we got a 10-minute candle close over the intraday. A sign of strength, but the wave is already like overbought on the 10-minute. Put these anchors back on. So we got the anchor up there, which it looks like we're trying to contend with. We'll see like what this looks like, if we can overcome the sentiment of the downtrend that just started here. And I got to put my push-up challenge anchor back on. We're going to put that back on the 12th. Boom. The push-up challenge is like, I started it at the best time. It's like caught multiple long entries. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then now 5 times. So like you guys have been seeing on Instagram, I've been doing those push-ups, and you're like, is it working out? And even though I've only been doing 52 push-ups for like the last like 8 days, it's like providing the volume weighted anchor is like providing good entries in that price action so far for us. So, and I'll definitely let you guys know if we slip below my push-up challenge, and I'm going to keep everyone updated on like how my push-up challenge is doing, because it would be cool if I could push the markets up with my chest gains. Let's see. So I want to do a giveaway. I actually already did half of the giveaway already, to the people. There's people in my VIP that have been super helpful in contributing like to the NickCipher community, and like helping me, and like, you know, making me feel like I'm welcomed back in the community. And to do a little giveaway for them within the VIP, I thought, you know, made me feel better, because some of these guys have been putting in some work in the Discord, and I appreciate it. And, you know, I made my VIP not because like I needed money, but because I wanted to join the ranks of Alexo Crypto and Trader Geo, and like I wanted to just jump in as like the other guy behind MC. Like, I wanted to jump in and see, you know, what it's like being an MC educator slash influencer. I think it's an important perspective for me to have, and I've definitely learned appreciation for like, you know, the following and the hard work that it takes. And so I appreciate you guys like a lot. Alexo Crypto, you're a Chad, bro. I love the shorts you do with your grandpa. Like, I love those the anecdotal sentiment reads, and I love that stuff. And yeah, the VIP, my VIP is super cheap. In fact, if you guys are thinking about getting in, it's not a signals group. I haven't even like been putting that many trades, but I am actually present in my VIP. And if anyone wants to chat with me or open a support ticket or whatever, like, you are closer to me. And I have a very strong grasp of trading mentality, psychology. You know, like, I watched my brother make massive trades. I've been in this. I'm the guy who taught the crypto space oscillators. Like, my divergence videos will go down in history as magical, you know. And so that was definitely something that I avoided. Like, my destiny as a great teacher for crypto, you know, that's a big job, but I'm on the other side of that valley. Like, you know, when you get into trading, you're standing on that mountain and you feel confident, but then as you look down at the vast valley of shit that you don't know, all of a sudden you start to feel dumb again. It's that bell curve of trading knowledge. And it's taken me a while to reach the other side of that bell curve, to feel empowered, to you know, to say confidently that I can shine a flashlight in the space for other people. Because I don't like talking about things I don't know. I only like talking about things that I'm like the expert in, you know. What's up, Kamayu? He said, realize that Vwap is kind of like a dynamic volume profile. Have been digging it. Yeah, it's just another way to look at volume. A different way to look at volume that incorporates price. And since price is easier for us to understand intuitively, it makes the volume easier to understand intuitively as well. It shows you what side the volume is favoring, you know. It kind of tells you everything you need to know about volume, but sometimes having those volume bars is still good, or like a volume profile. Ray says, I haven't traded in a while, but you inspire me to get back in. In your opinion, is it something you have to do full time? Actually, I would say that you shouldn't trade full time. So I like managing a cryptocurrency in a trading business. It's my job to be here full time. And so like when I'm not here full time, or when I'm not cooking 24/7, I feel dereliction of duty. So my perspective is like different than you guys. And I do believe that whether you're scalping or swinging, you don't have to be at the charts for 12 hours a day at all. You should delineate a trading session and, you know, figure out, you know, execute in that session and then relax the rest of the day. I don't think that you have to do it full time. But I'm really glad that I inspired you to get back into trading. Maybe it was my messaging on just accepting the fact that trading is hard and the heroic aspects of trading. Like, I market trading differently than CF. You know, CF is all about just like pull the trigger and like anyone can do it. You know what I'm saying? Which I think that's an important angle to hit trading from. But hitting trading from the angle of like trading is really hard, and trading is a war, and it's going to take discipline and all these things. I get that, like, I may not attract like as many new people to to MC in the space as my brother, but like the people that are already in the community will appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Questions about MC Academy. Are you guys thinking about opening that back up? Not for the time being. So I personally started doing consultations again. So if anyone wants to do a one-on-one consultation, like, we can set that up in my VIP. If you aren't in the VIP and you want to do a consultation, click my Discord link and send me a support ticket. If you are in the VIP, just let me know. So I can do some education for you guys if anyone needs some one-on-one time. And the other educators of MC, like Jason Casper, Evan Aldo, all those guys, like, they also have great courses and classes and communities that you can get help in. Ray says, thanks, I'm a new mom and it's something I would love to dabble in, but there's a lot more responsibility on me to not lose money now. Yeah, you know, when you have duties. But this is a good motivator for you, Ray, because you're trading out of a sense of duty, not out of a sense of ego. And it may feel daunting that you can't lose, but that's precisely why that you would make a good trader, Ray. Because trading is all about rigging the system in your favor, guaranteeing that, like, there's no way you can really lose, you know? And it sounds goofy, but you're basically like employing the Joe Biden mentality of like rigging the system in your favor from your bedroom so that you can surpass the world's greatest champions and shit. Like, so think of yourself as like Joe Biden in the election. Like, it doesn't matter like how good the other traders in the space are. Like, you could outtrade CF if you have the mindset that like there's no way you can lose. Like, the system is rigged in your favor. Like, that's Joe Biden's mentality. It's like the undefeated mentality, you know. Yeah, that shit's hard. I think that mentality that Joe Biden has goes hard. Like, imagine just sitting in your bedroom all day during that election and just like knowing you're gonna win. That's so hard, bro. Like, he didn't even try. He knew he didn't even have to try. So think of it as, this is easy, Ray. Think of it like trading is not hard. Well, maybe it is hard, but I'm gonna make sure that the odds are rigged in my favor and that there's no way I can lose, because I can't lose. I have a baby in the cradle, so I can't risk 25% of my stack in a single trade. And that's what makes you already a better trader than some of these pencil necks in the chat. So yeah, in fact, a lot of female traders are like, they got a good head on their shoulders, because maybe it's because women instinctually prioritize safety, and men tend to lie on the fringes of risk taking, and trading itself, it is one of those spaces where that attracts those fringe males. And so like the majority of males in trading are like fringe males who are like, you know, leveraging the farm on fart coin, you know. So yeah, to come at this from a position of protecting yourself, like thinking about what you can lose, not how much you can gain, but how much do I stand to lose in this trade. That's big. Being a parent, having children and responsibilities and a sense of duty definitely helps with that. Carlo De Leon says, bro, I got 3 kids and my wife is pregnant. Congrats, man. Congrats on leading a big legacy. And also navigating the world of trading while handling all that, man. That's a big responsibility. There's like a lot on the table. And just make sure that you're ready. You got those contingency plans in case like an exchange goes down or something. Like, don't have all your crypto on one wallet, and like all those little, it's those like bigger factors with your risk management that you start thinking about when you have other people under your jurisdiction, if that makes sense. Kamayu, I don't know if fart coin's even a thing, but I just like saying fart coin. And yeah, Alex Crypto, I think women definitely protect their capital more. Think about how like when you're in a relationship with a girl, like you're the one spending all the money. She's saving all the money in her piggy bank, and she doesn't even like tell you how much money she's got. You know, she could have $1 million in there from a secret OnlyFans and you wouldn't even know. You know, that's how a lot of women operate. Like, they won't even tell their man how much money they have. Whereas men, like, we tend to show off our money. Like, look what I got, look what I can do, you know? Yeah, Grandpa Joe Biden's got some superpowers, bro. You know, either the election was rigged or he's got like the mentality, the winning mentality. And yeah, the fact that he's able to like, you know, I believe that the election was rigged, but like also he's in the White House and Trump is not, you know. So there's something in there that happened. He defeated the world's mightiest champion from his bedroom. Isn't that what we all want to do? Isn't that what we all want? We all want to just be a guy with no shirt on in our bedroom, conquering the world, bro. Maybe that's why Joe Biden won, because that message may end up being a winning message into the future. Like, we may have had to pay the price for a truth that was an uncomfortable truth at the time, which is that like regular dudes in their bedroom are going to be running the game here real soon. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they're already running the game. Do I think Biden will win again? Bro, I don't know. I think that his mentality is unstoppable and the system is rigged in his favor. he's basically like the Bitcoin, like he's like Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin has the halvening and all these factors that like guarantee that it's going to beat the dollar and shit. It's like hacking. It's cheating, you know? So like the Bitcoin, you know, mentality is kind of like the Joe Biden mentality. It's like the system is rigged in my favor and there's no way I can lose. So maybe Biden wins again and shit gets harder. The work gets 2 times harder for us, and that would coincide with the halvening. Let me turn my treadmill on. I've just been like standing here. The halvening suggests that, so what the halvening is all about is that we need to put 2 times more input to get 2 times output. There's no guarantee of 2 times input because that's up to us, the people who believe in Bitcoin, to actualize. But by halving the reward, Bitcoin is asking us to double our input, the energy input, which then would double the output in theory. Yeah, imagine if we all had that mentality. Imagine if you guys all halved whatever rewards that you partake in, like, you know, smoking pot or going out or, you know, whatever. If you half that, you would probably start seeing yourself doing double the work, right? Which sounds counterintuitive, but oftentimes we take things for granted. Like, let's say you're getting paid $10,000 a month and you're lazy. So then your employer cuts you down to $5,000 a month, and now your work ethic is back. That's how human psychology works. Sometimes you need a kick in the ass, a big reminder, a correction, to inspire you to grow more. Maybe that's what's happening on a larger societal level, is maybe things are getting harder, so that our output gets greater, you know, like things have to get worse before they get better. Carlo, man, you're loving the stream, bro. He says, control the world from the shitter. Yes, dude. Yes, I'm taking a dump and making more than, you know, someone at a 9-to-5 job. That's what this is all about. That's why you guys got into trading. That's what this is all about. Looks like we're over both of our we're over not only the anchored downtrend of the recent pump here, but we're coming up over the intraday as well for now. I see the money flow scooping up on the 6-minute here. One time frame you guys may want to add to your chart is the 65-minute chart. It catches things that the hourly does not. Not necessarily in this case, but I've seen it catch like better candle formations around VWAPs than the 1 hour. It has to do with in a typical New York session, there's an uneven amount of hours, and so if you're trading an hourly candle strategy and going by the New York session, your trade might get cut shortly. Whereas if you trade on the 65-minute time frame, there's an even number of 65-minute candles in a typical New York trading session. So it's kind of like a secret time frame that like a lot of people who trade the stock markets use. I got that from Brian Shannon. You missed the long on the 4 hour. What was the long on the 4 hour? Oh shit. There's a little bit of a weird, I like to, you know, from a 4 hour perspective, I wouldn't see this much as a long. I would see a 4 hour long more as like one of these waves back here, right? Like we haven't had a meaty 4 hour long since the last time we were underneath the 60 line, right? Down here. Or maybe like right here we got close. But make sure that your sense of time frames is correct. We haven't had like a juicer 4 hour long entry in a while, and that's how impactful the 4 hour chart can be. But also when you're in an uptrend, you know, coming up over these big anchors, any green dot is going to be a good sign. That's why I made a little short about my VWAP strategy. When we're over VWAPs, green dots are supercharged. When we're below VWAPs, red dots are supercharged. So there's that aspect to this 4 hour chart here. But typically I don't like to enter trades off of like weak momentum. I love to you know, like such as when the price goes over this plus 60 line, that's an indication of runaway price action. So I like to catch on and ride that continuation and not really worry about exiting it until we fall below the 60 line and we start to, the momentum starts to show signs of weakness. You know, that's how I usually trade blue waves. Red dot 4 hour didn't make me long. I mean, oh yeah, that's why I don't like trading off of these like choppy zero line blue wave readings for the most part, because it's weak momentum. The market is not really deciding anything, and as an MC trader, I see myself as a momentum trader. I like to trade the extremes. You know, I like to trade the market when it starts moving in a certain direction, and I like to use the waves to catch on to that. And I typically am only looking at one side of the waves. Like when you're in an uptrend, you can basically just X out the entire top above the zero line and just only look at those waves below the zero line. And when you're in a downtrend, you can get rid of the waves below the zero line and just only look at the waves above the zero line. And so basically I'm doing half the work reading MCB that most people are doing, because it has to do with my trend bias. You want to have a strong basis on like what trend you're in. That's kind of a prerequisite to start looking for entries, at least for me. Make sure you've kind of like picked, you know, like stick your finger in your mouth and hold it to the wind and like which way is the wind blowing. Then you start employing NickCipher B. And NickCipher B is never a guarantee. It simply increases your win rate. Like if you get a blue wave that's under the 60, if you're in an uptrend and like the wind is blowing upwards, and then you see on like the 65-minute chart a big wave that's like oversold and it's like a BitBoy green dot and all this shit, like typically like that plays out. Like see, we played out and we hit the top of the range target. So make sure that you guys are trading like waves that give you a high likelihood of your trade succeeding, because the blue waves and the yellow waves are like directional. I don't really like to see them in terms of magnitude. RSIs are coming up here on the 65-minute. I've been loving the 65-minute lately. We had another little deep wave here. Like this was like if you didn't catch this long here, this wave like barely touched the 60, and then we got that green dot. So, and then we also came up over the intraday strategy. So that was a great basis for a long scalp right there. Yeah, I don't have a mic stand. I'm just holding my mic because I don't want it to be too quiet or something. Well, hey man, I'm here streaming, bro. You can't hate on me too much. Like, there's a lot of things about my streaming setup that's like not perfect. Like my lighting, obviously it can improve. My microphone can improve. But I'm here, man. You know, I could have put a nicer shirt on, but see, I'm a bedroom trader. I'm not gonna like lie, you know, about what I am or try to look all professional and shit. Like if I showed you guys around me right here, it like looks like shit in here. I just have a green tarp hanging up next to me, and yeah, I'm just a bro, you know. But yeah, if anyone is you know, not a member of the community, check out NickCipher.com. I got an affiliate link in my YouTube description, just so I can track, like, you know, how many people I bring to the tool. But this will go over, like, you know, what we are, connection to TradingView, shows you the tools right here, all that stuff. There's a tutorial page, which now that I'm streaming and getting back into the groove of doing this stuff, like this tutorial page is going to start exploding. But we got like CF's old basic strategy videos. We've got my old school, iconic, like low fidelity. This is like lo-fi trading wisdom. My old FloppingGroper videos here. And you could like watch my old Vwap strategy videos and then watch my new ones. I made a playlist. It's a Vwap trading playlist that's like 10 videos long on my NickCipher YouTube, and you can watch that if you want to get like a good understanding of Vwap. We got the risk calculator. So if you guys are having issues formulating a position, you can come in here into the risk calculator and play with your total capital and figure out like what your metrics should be. You can also open this on your phone and try to find a way to actually execute your trades faster using the tool. And it'll just help you manage your risk. And obviously like your total capital grows over time, and it gives you a good idea of like how you're growing and how you're doing. And I added definitions. I wrote all of this. I wrote like definitions for all of the terms. Clay says, y'all really should come up with a school that requires 80 to 90% win rate, and upon completion, make a certificate. It will eventually build momentum. Then y'all got NickCipher Academy at a larger level. Yeah, man, I think like having tests. Yeah, like quizzes and shit would be cool. That's a good idea. Requiring that, set some soft expectations for people, you know, instead of just throwing them to the wolves, or having that anchoring bias of like, you want to be like CF, you know, you got to work your way up all the way up to being CF. Like instead of doing that, maybe we could set some lower expectations and like, you know, think of it more of it as an uptrend instead of you having to overcome a gigantic downtrend to feel like you've caught up in trading. I totally get that. Learning how to build the fire in someone's technical knowledge better. I get that, man. I've been seeing life in terms of these anchors, like what I was just talking about, like with anchoring bias. This is Brian Shannon's like life lesson. It's like the idea that basically, like, let's say you have a moment in your life that represents a top. To be in the shadow of this downtrend, think about how that's affecting your sentiment. You don't have any hope until this comes over that, you know? Whereas if you were to just simply delete that and place a new anchor, like it's your decision whether you want to start fresh in your life. Like let's say you just bombed your account. It's your decision whether you want to live in the shadow of your old total capital size, or if you want to start over from a fresh mindset and just set some low expectations for yourself so you can get a better grasp of like your progress and appreciate your progress and your growth more. So, you know, oftentimes in life, when you have to step down off a pedestal for any kind, that's such a broad topic. Like it could be in anything, like relationships, business, like anything. Try to like delete that anchor overhead that's like weighing you down and making you feel like you have to catch up like Heinz, if that makes sense. Just push delete and like it's up to you to set a new anchor for yourself. And that's what this push-up challenge was for me. Like I started my push-up challenge on February 12th. And I just been monitoring that Vwap line. It's this one right here. It's orange there. It's interesting to see, like, basically this is the start of my anchoring bias. This is like where my push-up challenge started. And so I've chosen to delineate that as like a critical point in the markets, and just like watching how my push-up challenge is performing, and it's performing amazing. Yeah, some good timing that I started doing that. Do you think that stocks will eventually move to the blockchain as tokenized assets? Dude, I don't know, man. Clay, I can only talk about things that I know, bro. I don't know the most about crypto, and I'm not even the best trader. I simply am good at explaining things in a poetic and metaphorical fashion. I'm an everyday guy. I don't, I'm not an expert on tokenized assets and all this shit. Like, I'm never gonna pretend to be that guy for you guys and say things that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm here to teach you guys about MC, and I definitely have some ideas about Bitcoin and the philosophy behind it, and like I definitely believe in Bitcoin and crypto, but yeah, I'm gonna stick to talking about things that I know about. Man, Nightshade, it's good to have you in here, bro. So Nightshade is doing my push-up challenge with me. He's a man of service himself, if I'm not mistaken. And if I see myself as like the lifeboat guy in that's the role. I'm not the captain of the ship anymore. I ain't going down with the ship. I'm a man of service for my MC family now. And it's interesting to see Nightshade kind of come into my community and be such a good person for the NickCipher community. It's almost like, in every lifeboat, there's the captain of the lifeboat whose like job is really important because he's the one who makes the call. Do we go back for the survivors or not? But he isn't the only one who's like in a leadership position on the boat. There's definitely like a right-hand man or like a second in command or something in the lifeboat. And Nightshade being like a man of service definitely has like organically filled that role for me. So he's actually in my stochastics, my RSI stochastics video. He made it in there because he's got good things to say about the RSIs. But yeah, man, it's good to have you in my lifeboat, man. I appreciate it. Crypto Traveler says, hey bro, do you ever use different settings rather than open, high, low, close 4? So his question is pertaining to, this double clicking on the treadmill is hard. I don't know how Jason Casper does this shit. But when you go into the settings of an anchored VWAP, you have the source here, and it's like, what do you choose? Do you choose, like, maybe if you're doing it from the top, like a top here, you would think that you would want to choose the high. But what Brian Shannon says in his book is that you want to just average all 4 candles, which would be the open, high, low, close divided by 4. And also I like to do it on the daily as much as I can. Sometimes on like the scalp time frames, I'll do an anchor from like a tiny candle such as this. But most of the time I prefer to go to the daily and then place the anchor at that level, so that it's taking the entire day into account. Like when I started my push-up challenge, see how I put it on the daily candle of the 12th? I didn't zoom in on the small time frames to place that anchor. So yeah, like as much as you can, place like big anchors on daily candles and do open, high, low, close 4. That's what I'm doing. See how you could experiment with other stuff, but Brian Shannon recommends you get a non-biased average of all 4 of those values. Good question, man. Really good question. I'm glad you guys are in here too. If you guys follow NickCipher on Instagram, and you like a bunch of shit, drop a support ticket in my VIP Discord. Tell me like what you did like to support the Instagram profile, and I'll do a giveaway. Like I'll split it up amongst the people, and I'll figure out a way to reward some of you guys who are watching me, since this is my first stream. So just go on the IG and just pump it up a little bit. Don't like write comments that are like AI generated. Like try to make it look real. So when people come to my page, they don't see like a false boatman, who's like, I want to look real. Like I've got real people that I'm helping, because I'm a real person who's helping real people. So don't just like chat GPT this shit. Like tell me the truth of what's going on in your head, but if you do want to help me out gaining traction on there, open a support ticket and just tell me like a little message, and and I'll send you a little thank you note and some crypto, some Alexo crypto. I'll send you that later. And just know that, you know, every day I'm out here thinking about like trading ideas, trading philosophy, like new ideas, new ways to think. And I just want to I just want to provide my contributions to the MC space, you know, every day. So I do that on Instagram. I do it with my YouTube shorts, and I'll be doing it with these streams and more YouTube videos, obviously, like I'll be putting out. Carlo De Leon, you better not be AI, bro. You better be real. You guys better be real. Kamayu said, what can be cool for the Discord is maybe a section where you can post your trades that didn't work out and others can give their analysis. Good way to practice and get feedback. Yeah, I mean, in the trading floor, you could definitely have that conversation. I'm not going to add too many channels. Like, I like the fact that the Discord is like bare bones. There's just a few select channels because we don't have that many people. We got like 60 or 70 people in there. So if you do make a mistake, you know, shining light on mistakes is important in trading. It's good to talk about them, and you don't want to talk about them with your wife and kids and make them worry about your trading career. You want to talk about them with your cohorts, your trading cohorts, your trading mentors. You know, like, you can cry in your wife's titties, but don't like tell her the dirty details of how you got liquidated. You know what I'm saying? Talk to the boys about that stuff. You know, we'll handle it in the Discord. You know, I hear you, bro. We got to talk about our mistakes more. We definitely have been talking about the various mistakes you can make in trading. I think what comes down to a lot of failed trade setups is not isolating the environment that you're really in. Not like having an idea of like what environment you're in. Like, are we in an uptrend, or are our longs favored, or like our shorts favored, or is it a sideways choppy point in the markets? Like, did we long off of a deep oversold wave that was under the 60 line, or did we settle for some half in, half out shit? Like, the price already came up halfway, and so it's like the reward wasn't as good anymore or something, you know? Like, usually you can isolate, like, after every bad trade, you're like, oh, that's what I did wrong. You know, there's usually like a good reason why it went wrong. Lol Volvo says, I never even said your name before, Lol Volvo. But I've seen you around, bro. I've seen you in the comments. Happy to be here, FG. Keep up the hard work. Thank you so much, man. Much love. Duper, what's up, Duper? You're a hero, man. I loved our conversation that we had. Another man of service, another, you know, you're thinking about other people a lot, which I know you're a good trader, bro, because your head's in like the right places. It's like thinking about, you know, your duties in your life. You don't come from a place of ego, you know. So yeah, I enjoyed our conversations we've had, Duper. Thank you, Mike. Mike said I'm doing a good job. Thank you, Mike. So we definitely see like on this 1 hour time frame, I see the money flow coming down a bit. It is a little bit of a concerning sign. That being said, as long as like this anchor here is continues to be ascending, I'm gonna maintain a bullish bias in like the medium term. So in the big term, I'm overall like bullish because of these anchors being below us. Like, we could basically come down all the way to these anchors and I would still have to be bullish because we're still over these anchors, right? So from a macro standpoint, I'm quite bullish. And in a medium term standpoint, because this anchor here is slightly ascending, that also lends credence to like medium term scalp plays playing out. Whereas if this yellow line was like slightly sloped down and we were over it like this, that would be a little bit concerning, right? Because we would have already established a volume weighted average price downtrend at that point. it would be a lot more concerning for us to take a long from that position. So if the money flow does continue to bleed out, we would probably see this anchor fall, or perhaps like it would like slip into a falling position, and then we would start to see shorts off of the intraday and off of the bigger anchors, and you'd have an anchor such as like this, you know, recent top would end up being like resistance and a place to short from. But I do see us like overcoming these anchors on the 15 minute. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. We had a huge short scalp all the way down to the bottom of the range, cleaning out the market there, establishing a strong trading range from about, you know, 50,600 level all the way up to like almost 53K. So it's a pretty juicer range that we're trading in. Yeah, that's about where I'm at with that stuff. You could, like, you know, you could long from this point. It's like a whale splash. It looks like, at least, a whale splash off these two anchors. And now we don't really have much, like, overhead. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're on top of this falling anchor here, it would suggest that we've, like, overcome, at least for the time being, we've overcome the recent bearish sentiment that was created by that recent short scalp that we see here. So there's not much like overhead. There's a lot of stuff below us, like blowing us upward like a leaf in the air, you know, and there's not really much like overhead stopping us. As long as we're in this is an empowering position for the price to be in. So we'll see if it can hold. I'm not in any trades. I'm just, you know, just here to interact with you guys and be present for my MC fam. Yes, sir. You guys have any questions about anything, or Man, I got some crackpot crypto ideas. Like I got like this Titanic hypothesis that I was playing around with, which it's so deep that like it almost like requires a video for me to go under, like to go into and stuff. But I just think there's a way to. What's my favorite RW? What do you mean, Nightshade? Like risk reward? Or what is RW? Am I like tripping? Am I stupid? How's this volume too? Is this like quiet? There we go. How much % profit do you usually take at first TP? Not gonna lie. No, Ash Taylor, dude, I haven't been trading, bro. I have not. I'm waiting for a Palau ID. I haven't been trading, and I don't want you guys to rely on my trades or copy me at all. Like, it's not the goal of this live stream. The MC space needs someone who's present every day to answer questions and like to fill in the blanks of like what you don't know by watching CF. So I'm gonna embrace that role, and trading comes second to that. Like, you got to understand that I'm managing a business here first. That's kind of my role for the community. Is like I'm a man of duty. I'm not like the outlaw trader who's pulling the trigger. I'm not trying to be Jack from the Titanic. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the boatman. Yeah. And I'm waiting for the pencil necks. I've been like studying pencil neck psychology and like rehearsing my lines, and like I feel so empowered to stand up for my business and my community and my people and my brother and swat down any pencil neck bullshit, because I do the price of Bitcoin divided by 1,000 push-ups every single day. I'm shitting on the pencil necks every single day, calling them out for being weak physically and mentally and spiritually. So yeah, I'm ready for, you know, I know you guys are there. I know not all my followers like me. So you know, bring it on. Ray says, what is your take on BC backers theory that we've already hit the top? Dude, I don't even know who BC backer is. I don't think that anyone is in power to tell the future. You know, looking at the macro, I guess we could take a look. So we're definitely at a very important part in the markets. I know that sounds cliche, but like we have that upward rising resistance, and we have the bottom of the trumpet there. It's hard to say if we have to pump up and touch the top of this trumpet like in a succinct fashion, and then it's also hard to say what happens from that point, right? You know, it's easy to assume that we would have to correct, you know, back down to these anchor waves, or like the anchored VWAPs down here. But since that we are over them, I don't feel empowered to call a short. You know what I'm saying? Like the structure is not such that I feel strongly about a short opportunity. Not that it can't happen, it certainly can. It's like a high risk short opportunity, because the reality is that the volume is indicating, the volume weighted price is indicating that you know, we're being repulsed from these lines, pushed upward, like someone's blowing the leaf upward. And trumpet patterns are highly volatile. If this thing did decide to break up, you know, that would mess up a lot of people's ideas. That would probably liquidate a lot of bears. So like all I can do is shine a flashlight 15 feet in front of me, like we're walking in the desert, and I got the flashlight. Like I can tell you if there's a snake in front of you. I can tell you, yo, don't walk into that cactus. But do I know like the other side of the mountain, or like what the mountain in front of the mountain that I'm looking at looks like? Like, no. So I feel like BC backer, whoever this guy is, like, I think it's a kind of a, I don't know, it might be a crackpot theory, but I'd have to learn more about it. Just be aware of anyone telling you they know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Or making like big calls. Like people make big calls to get attention on them, and it worked. Like here you are mentioning this person on my stream. You know, their plan worked. They got in your head and they infected you with their random idea that they got. But I don't know BC backer at all. Like he's probably a really chill dude. Not saying anything about his character. Just, you know, 6 years of looking at markets. People make big calls all the time. There were people calling for 3.5k Bitcoin when we were at 15k, you know, and those people were hella wrong. But yeah, I think it behooves us to trade with the grain. You know, even if shorts come, you know, you see them coming because you see the tiring signs, you know. But it just doesn't pan out good for shorters in a bullish structure like this. Sorry, there's a lot of questions that piled up. Okay, so Nightshade, you're talking about risk reward. How much % profit do you usually take at first TP? Not gonna lie, when I do trade, I get out on like NickCipher B tiring signs, or I'll get out at a VWAP line. And I do set like TPs, like it's not at a fixed %, it's more technical based. Like it's more based on where we're at in the charts. I'm not necessarily like at 2% gain, I will cover my fees. Like it's not like that. When I have traded, it's like you put a limit take profit at like a key level, or you start to see the waves diverging and you see the market tiring, and that's when I would look to take profit, which, you know, take that as you will. That's just what I've done. Kamayu says, how many years have you and CF been trading for? CF's been trading for 7 years. I think I've been trading for 5. 6 or 7 years for him and 5 for me. Yeah. Duper says, for the dude asking about taking profit, I've implemented a new profit taking method for swing positions that I've really been liking. He closes 33% of the current position at each level. Yeah, so Duper's bringing up a really good, you know, don't copy him exactly, like tailor your own system, but letting some of the trade ride, letting a good position ride. If you've isolated a trending market in particular, letting good trades ride and simply taking profits and then re-adding and holding that like bigger position. That's what CF does. Like, I've watched CF trade, and like that's what CF does. That's what he looks like he's doing. So let good trades ride. Allow yourself to grow, you know. Don't be afraid of growth. That sounds weird, but growing pains, right? Like, growth is hard, and it's easy to take all your profit off the table and not have faith in the validity of your idea. So make sure that, you know, what Duper's done is he said, I'm going to take out a third at each sign. You know, you see the signs, you know. And so hopefully that's been going better for you, Duper. You know, there's going to be those trades where you get kicked out of the markets, but that's training you to let the market kick you out. Like, you let that last 10 or 20% ride, and then you raise that's when you would start chasing the price action with your stop. You don't want to chase the price action with your stop loss before that point, because then your stop loss is no longer at a technical level that puts you in an empowering position where you're manipulating the odds in your favor. You're now setting your stop loss to a level that simply like pertains to you and your situation, which the market doesn't care about, you know? So when it comes to stop losses, like, don't chase the position with a stop loss until you've already exited like perhaps a majority of the position, and you've accepted the idea that it's time for the market to kick me out, you know? Ash Taylor says, your high time frame macro analysis has always been stellar. I've been reading all your posts in the MC Discord. Either way, 2 week, 1 month, and 2 months, still very much in charge for the bulls. Yes. I'm big on, you know, I'm the original guy who taught the crypto space these waves. And I understand them more than most people. I'm not like tooting my horn or anything, but for us to, like, on the 2 week, to be in over the 60 line with RSIs that haven't even connected yet, and the yellow oscillator crossing 0, like, makes me not want to short scalp, you know what I'm saying? You know, on the weekly, we did slip under. You see how this looked weird for a while? We were in that sideways kind of ranging period back there, and we slipped under the 60 line. But then we rallied back up, and now we're over the 60 line again, and it certainly may form a bear div. There may be a reckoning here, but I wouldn't hedge on bearish things playing out as hard as bullish things, because we're above the macro anchors. The types of trades that I would look to take are the trades with the highest odds, which would be you know, longs on the smaller time frames, just because simply that we're over the 60 line. What was the other chart? The 2 month. You were going over the 2 month. Was I going over the 2 month at one point? Let me go to the BLX. This one here. Oh, here we go. Okay. This chart's a juicer, man. I love this BLX chart. The 2 month definitely still has a lot of room to go. The RSI is ascending. The yellow oscillator crossed like months and months ago. It just has like room to grow. So there's a lot to take in here. Like, one is that the momentum is not very high. which means that we're not seeing the giganto candles from like a macro, like a gigantic like bull run like mania. You know, there's not like mania, even though it is going up, even though it is rising, and there's a lot of room up to go for us. We're not over the 60 line on the 2-month perspective. So it would make sense that these green candles we're seeing, even though they are green, even though they are thick, and they are juicers, like it's simply not like dildo candles from positive over plus 60 macro 2-month juicer momentum, you know? So we have a ways to go to build sentiment in the crypto markets to get to that point where we're runaway train mode on a time frame as big as this. Yeah. And I label these different bull bear cycles because I have this Titanic hypothesis that like the Bitcoin markets are it's basically Rose reliving the sinking over and over again in her mind. Like this is the entire Bitcoin price chart is the Titanic movie. It's not the actual Titanic. There's multiple sinkings. Like the Titanic sinks over and over in her mind until the end, when she can finally, she's so abundant in her truth, her spiritual truth, from retelling her story and deciphering all the meaning behind her suffering, that she's able to dump her bags and give the heart of the sea back to the ocean. It's like she dumped her Bitcoin because she's living it. She's omniscient. She's outside the story, telling about the Titanic from an outside perspective. And that's a perspective that we need to maintain as traders. Like, we always need to be outside the narrative of the markets. The moment that you accept the role as like captain of the ship, then you're going to go down in the sinking. So your market exposure and like all that shit's really important. Like, make sure that you're always maintaining that empowered position of being a market observer. Even if you have skin in the game, you can't have so much skin in the game that you're now actually in the Titanic movie, like during the sinking, like struggling and you don't want to be that guy getting squished by a smokestack or sucked through the hole, or you don't want to be the captain going out with the ship. There's very few characters who make it to the end of the Titanic. If you're actually in the story, you have to be like the boatman, like a man for others who's got a lot of discipline and integrity, or you got to be like Rose, you know, or you could be the rich lady, the rich hens, you know, they always survive. But the best perspective to take is the perspective of Rose. She's the one who makes it to not only the end of the sinking, and like she makes it back to the harbor in New York, but it's like that's not the final scene. The final scene is actually her as like a 90-year-old woman many years later finally cashing in and like dumping her bags, you know what I'm saying? So look at the markets from that perspective. Imagine yourself like, you know, at a price level like of a future bull bear cycle, and that will give you the ability to survive multiple sinkings. And not only that, but derive spiritual truth out of like where you're at in each sinking. You guys are just letting me cook on this Titanic shit. Let me get some more water. I'll be right back.
You see the market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. Alter ego, Satoshi Nakamoto. Alter ego, Satoshi Nakamoto. You see the market going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. Alter ego, Satoshi Nakamoto. Alter ego, Satoshi Nakamoto.
So the floor treadmill is a super game changer. You know, Jason Casper he even like has had thoughts like, am I a weirdo? Like I heard him in his videos saying like I'm a weird guy, and I had to comment on him. I'm like, dude, you're not weird, you're a visionary, you know? But the floor treadmill is a groundbreaking thing for traders, because this is a job that puts you in a sedentary lifestyle, which is inherently bad for trading. Make sure that you guys are not only thinking about this from a money perspective, but from a holistic standpoint. Like I am a living example of someone who took profit at the perfect time in the 2020 bull run, but because like I didn't spend that time building discipline, prioritizing my health, I hit a personal low at the market bottom, which like that is not clutch of me to do that. Like I was the captain going down with the ship in the metaphorical last sinking of the Titanic. I was not a character that lasts to the end, right? And granted, from that bottom, I've caught up, like I catch up like Hines, and I'm here again, you know, at the reliving of the sinking level, and like this is also like the rescue phase, where like the majority of the participants in the movie are dying off and exiting the markets, taking profits on basically the second half of the sinking, which is like when hope starts to manifest, you know? So yeah, even though price is pumping, this where we're at in the market represents like, I guess the point in the sinking where the ship goes under, and it's almost like how the water gets pulled down and then comes back up. There's a lot of people that are removed from the story in like the final like 10 minutes, you know? It's only select characters that make it to the end and get the payoff. So I actually have this like crackpot diagram for you guys. I have to show you guys this. So, oh dang, it's not showing. One sec. Let me see if I can. Okay, I think you can see this. Can you guys see this like crackpot chart here? Poop. Okay, cool. So you have like the psychological top of the market, which you know, you could basically tie what happens in the Bitcoin markets to these like events in the Titanic sinking. You have the psychological top of a market like back here in the 2021 bull run, which represents like getting hit by the iceberg. But it's also the point where people from the previous cycle are in that final scene where Rose like is able to cast the necklace in and like take profit. Like Rose takes profit on like her struggle and reaping the benefits of living through the Titanic. So this event, you know, this first event, the psychological top is not only the iceberg event where things start going down, but it's also the point where those who made it to the end of their spiritual journey from the last cycle get their payoff. And this is typically the area of the markets where you hear people saying like, not even God himself could sink this ship. You know, like remember the false hero? I forget his name. I think it's Cal. But he says like, not even God himself could sink this ship, you know? And that guy ends up like shooting people and like being a bad guy. So the false heroes are saying, you know, there's no way this can go down at this point in the markets. But then you get that counter move, like we've been going up, but you get a major correction. And that is basically the men below deck, the engineers being sacrificed to stall the sinking. And so when those engineers below deck went down, like that, you could say that from a price perspective, the price pumped a little bit because there's hope there that the men that are shoveling the coals and keeping the pumps going, the real men down below deck that keep society working, they're the first to be sacrificed so that the party above deck can continue, right? So the good men die first. And then next is like the second wind for the bulls. So like after those guys get sacrificed, you know, there's a delusion phase that sets in. But then you get that second major correction. And this is when the panic sets in. Then you get the third major correction, which would be an event such as like the captain going down with the ship. And then you have the overcorrection, which happens, which pertains to like the false heroes being revealed, and like people's true characters coming out, and like the worms bubbling up from the dirt, and like the reality of the situation is like, holy shit, you know, you get that overcorrection. And think about in the markets, when we were at the bottoms of the Bitcoin markets, the false heroes were revealed. We had like the FTX shit, you know, like BitBoy was going through personal problems, and basically like there's multiple cases in the markets where like you had like this archetype of like the unmasking of the Scooby-Doo, you know. But then you hit the bottom, you get the playing of the violins, the confirming. Sometimes you'll get a confirmation of an old iceberg level as support. But this represents like the darkest part of the markets, the psychological bottom. And so to come up from this point, to enter the up phase, you could say that the first major pump, which if you cross this, like see how the up phase starts with a counter move, just like the down phase started with a counter move. Like it's a down phase, but you get a like basically like the market was going up, but you get a correction downward. And then here, like the market was going down, but you get a pump up. So these are like opposite but equal parts in like the cycle psychologically. But when the women and children start to get loaded into the lifeboats, that's like your first major pump. It's like, okay, you know, the story isn't over. Like we got to actually start rescuing people. This is like the start of the uptrend of the Titanic sinking. And next you get a second win for the bears, which coincides with the second win for the bulls we had. You know, after the best men were sacrificed, we get that second win for the bulls, but it's like a false second wind. And here, like we have a second wind for the downtrend. There's guns drawn. There's issues with the lifeboats being deployed, and we once again are wondering, like, was the first pump a lie, and are we still in a downtrend from the story perspective, or are we still going up still? And like by the second major pump, that is when you're confirmed that you are in an uptrend, you know. But this is when the weak hands take profit. This is when everyone not at the right place or the right time is removed from the story. And this is where you get death scene after death scene of market participants exiting the markets because they've decided that they're not going to last to the end. You know what I'm saying? Like they've chosen their own death, even though they've probably just taken profits. They're exiting the storyline. And then you get the third major pump, which at this point, the profits that are available until reaching the last iceberg level are so thin and so scant that there's not many market participants. This ends up being a quiet rescue phase. Is anyone alive out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is where you're wondering, like, where is everybody? And why is the truth so hard to discern of what's happening? But it's because there's just not many people left. The ship sank, and you've got a bunch of flopping gropers just like bobbing in the water. You know what I'm saying? But finally, once we reach that old iceberg level psychologically, I would say that represents our rescue by Harold Lowe. It's basically the confirmation that we've been spared from our doom, because we have officially survived the Titanic sinking when we're rescued by the true hero, which is the counter psychological moment from the overcorrection. So whereas back down here, false heroes are being revealed, up here, the true hero is revealed. So this is like another counter, but complementary point in the psychology. And after that, you get that initial, like, you can start getting the moon pumps and stuff. You start going higher from that point. So I'm not really sure where we are in the up phase of you know, the sinking, because we're not at that iceberg level 69K. But it would suggest that like Bitcoin's true hero, like who's psychologically going to, who's the individual, or who are the individuals that are going to help us break the psychological boundary of the iceberg level and convince the masses that we are no longer sinking, because the sinking is still basically happening up until that point. And yeah, this is definitely some deep crypto psychology, right? This is deep as hell. But I guess we're at a point now where, you know, the gains for people are scant. There's not many market participants. I'm getting like 20 likes on my Instagram, and there's you know, goons riding skateboards that are getting more followers than I am. You know what I'm saying? Let me one sec. See, I definitely feel like we're in a quiet rescue phase, you know? Well, in Clay, it's not that like they're intellectually lazy, it's that this market psychology dictates that they're simply not, they've exited the story before the rescue phase, and therefore they've taken away the empowered position of like anchoring themselves either at the previous iceberg level, like up here, or the darkest moment, the violins. They now have their anchoring bias like here, you know what I'm saying? And so their journey is a lot more risky and a lot more unsure, and like you wouldn't want to like let's say that you unplug yourself from the Titanic sinking story, to replug yourself back in before the sinking is over is like, why would you subject yourself to that? You're better off like psychologically waiting for the rescue phase, the Harold Lowe being rescued, and then jumping in and benefiting from like this type of move, which is like the euphoria that coincides with the eventual reaching of the next iceberg. So I think that would explain the psychology of why people are not coming into the markets at this point. It's not that like they're lazy. I think that the common man is actually pretty smart, and the common man knows that like we need to overcome the iceberg level at 69K or whatever, and Bitcoin's true hero needs to be revealed. There needs to be a larger movement for Bitcoin and crypto. That's why I got thinking, like, what are some of the heroes of society nowadays? I think David Goggins is like a very important figure. His ideas on like working hard and proof of work and putting 2 times input to get 2 times output, that coincides with the Bitcoin halvening. And also Jordan Peterson's market psychology, like his social psychology, of course that applies to market psychology. So whoever the leader of crypto will be, like it needs to be someone who can like tie in these societal lessons into a way that actually generates like societal results. Because like, you know, David Goggins and Jordan Peterson, they're influential, but that's all they are. This is Lord Cyborg's Ocean Waves. And I'm trying to get my video back. I'm so bad with my streaming software, not gonna lie. Like I gotta get way better at this stuff. I'm gonna improve, guys. I'm gonna keep improving for you. But when you zoom into the markets, like you zoom in on this cycle here, oops, clean this up a little. So you have the iceberg event, and then you have the best men below deck being sacrificed, and then you have the delusion phase. this is that second win for the bulls here. This is like, we're not in a downtrend yet. Like the people don't think the Titanic is sinking. But then you get the second major correction. And this is like kind of where the panic sets in, but there's a lack of direction on the ship, a lack of leadership clicking on, and things are kind of coming quick. The panic is setting in because there's not a lot of leadership at this point. And then you get the third major correction. This is when, like, basically right here is like the captain going down with the ship, and it's seeming like all hope is lost. And then these last movements here, this is where like the villains are being revealed of the story. The false heroes and the villains are showing their head. The violins are playing, and you're at the market is at its darkest. And if you were to just reflect that logic, but in a bullish sentiment, you would have the up phase, which would, so this would be like, the first major pump would be the women and children loading into the lifeboats. Or maybe like this is the first pump, like this move here. You know, this is all subjective because I'm talking about a Hollywood movie. I'm not talking, this is like more subjective than Elliott wave. You guys got to understand that I'm just like explaining this from a movie standpoint. Like it really has nothing to do with price, but like just how things kind of look from like an artistic standpoint. But yeah, like you have the price come up, but then you have the second win for the bears. You have this downward phase, which is where basically at this point would represent the guns being drawn and issues with the lifeboats and second guessing our come up, you know. But then you get the second major pump right here, which this is where all the weak market participants are actually exiting. This is where the people that bought at the bottom are taking profits because we're approaching the golden retracement short opportunity of the recent dump. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the third major pump, which is that quiet rescue phase. And maybe this is the third major pump right here. I'm not sure. And it is possible that we're still in the second major pump. I'm really not sure. But this would suggest that at some point, you know, in the next year or so, like we come up to our eventual rescue point. And so I just say that with a grain of salt because it's just where I'm using Titanic metaphors to explain the markets, you know. So I'm not like bullish off of this hypothesis. It's just a way to talk about markets. There's many ways to talk about markets, like, and those same events happen in this run here. You have the iceberg, and then you have like the good men dying, and then you have the delusion phase, and then the captain goes down with his ship, and then the villain is revealed, and then the lifeboats, and that, you see what I'm saying? Like, the sense of time is skewed and different every time, because during the Titanic sinking, time is like, there's a time dilation where like the sinking scene feels like the longest scene of the movie, even though it's actually the fastest. But yeah, you could go through like previous bull cycles and basically craft that same narrative of the Titanic story reliving. And somewhere at the end of all this is Rose, the granny. There's some granny dumping her Bitcoin bags for massive profit because she's like the last person who survived. That market nirvana, you know what I'm saying? Any successful market that's going places, there's going to be those market nirvana moments. It's only failed assets that everyone is robbed of that. In an asset that's successful and going places, market nirvana is all but assured. Dynamic says the real hero of crypto will be all of us. At the end of the day, no one is coming to save us. We have to be our own heroes. And dude, I totally agree. That's why I'm doing push-ups to make the markets go up. At a certain point, I realized no one's coming to save my ass. And I intuitively have discovered through my teachings of like with David Goggins that if I 2x my input, then regardless of what Bitcoin does, my output will 2x. You know what I'm saying? My reward had to be halved. I stepped down from my 15K NickCipher channel, which was my original FloppingGroper YouTube, and I accepted the role of a new MC educator starting from scratch. My life tanked at the Bitcoin bottom. So my anchoring bias is like from that point at the bottom of the markets. So I think it's an important perspective to have. And yeah, the people at the end of the story are not the ones at the beginning. In fact, the hero, Jack, he's not the one who saves Rose. The real hero of the story is the boatman, the guy that you didn't see coming. And I wish I could get my face showing again. Why did I drop the old channel? I didn't drop the old channel, Ray. It's just that's the NickCipher channel. I can't post myself with no shirt on ranting in the middle of the night on that channel. And that was a channel that I made like for my brother and for NickCipher. And so I don't know, I just made it a point to start fresh. And it's been feeling good. I feel like I have good market clarity from seeing how fast my channel's growing. And like the people who are like real is able to recognize real. Like the students that I have right now are my best students like that I've ever had. So yeah, let that be a lesson to be learned about. You know, it's not about like having the biggest platform. It's just about showing growth 1% each day. It doesn't matter how big your account size is or how many followers you have. What matters is the types of followers you have. I only have 1,000 subs, but I have as many clients and students as I want. You know, it's like a very high quality 1K subs. Like I'm not complaining whatsoever. What's up, Dr. Slater? Good to see you in here. It's not morning over here, it's like midday. And I've been on this walking treadmill this whole time, so I got my cardio in just by talking to you guys. But yeah, do you guys have any final questions for me before I go for today? And I'll come back at least 2 other times this week. I'm gonna start maybe doing like 3 days a week streaming. And then we'll see if I can bump it up to 5 days a week very soon. How many steps you done? I'm at 2 miles. I'm at 66 minutes of it going. Damn, I don't have my phone on me, so it wasn't counting my steps, but I'm sweating. Dynamo says, where did your trading journey begin? Like, how did you become the master of oscillators? So I started trading on BitMEX with my brother in like 2018, and it was all self-taught. I just watched like hella YouTube videos and was so passionate about trading that I quickly got to a point where I was executing like 50x high risk ETH long trades, like as a new trader, and I was very confident, and I was absorbing like the energy and the vibe off my brother, and so I was in this like mentality of being able to like not talk down to, but like assert myself to the FloppingGropers and call people like, what's up, you FloppingGropers? And like I had this air of authority from my initial overconfidence as a new trader, and people bought into that. Not to say that my technical knowledge was bad, it's just like I only knew what I knew. And I became the master of MCB's oscillators simply by studying them and having conversations with CF and the creator on the tool. Like he told me enough to send me in the right direction, but there's also a lot about MC that like even the MC's creator and CF like don't really like I always found the little ways to describe things that like CF and the creator of MC never thought of, but that resonated with like the everyday person. So my original videos on wave divergences were groundbreaking because nobody was able to describe a oscillator divergence as good as me. No one was able to talk about like what's a hidden bull div and what's a hidden versus a standard divergence. And to me it clicked, and it seemed like something that was obvious, but when I put those videos out, like comment after comment, it's like, bro, you opened my eyes to the magic of oscillators. And I basically, I don't know, like it was, to me, it was like common sense stuff, and I picked it up rather quickly, and it was natural to me. But that's not to say that it's not hard to understand. Like I always had a lot of sympathy and wanted to shed light on this shit, you know? And actually, like, I'm very sentimental about all those people that I taught these waves. Like, I'm very proud of myself for playing that part in previous market cycles, and for teaching so many people how to read divs. And I was never the front man. I was always just a guy manning his station, like a man of duty who did, you know, all that stuff to help the community, you know? No, dude, MCB was, I mean, it's just a momentum. Like, my brother just wanted the momentum waves, you know what I'm saying? I was the one who studied oscillators enough to learn about, I mean, divergences existed before MC. I'm not the person who invented divs, you know what I'm saying? That's a silly assertion to make. But I was the one who like brought divergence knowledge to everyone who uses oscillators like this. If you ever see an oscillator that looks like this, whether it's NickCipher or a copy, or anyone who uses an auto div tracker on this shit, that's all like my original teachings. And I actually don't like div trackers because they don't see all the divergence. Like, as a master of divergence, there's more divs than you can really see. Like, for instance, here, like, the price goes up. There's so many disagreements between the price and the oscillator. You can see how the price goes up there, but the waves come down slightly. So this is trending up, whereas these little two trigger waves here are slightly trending down. So that's a hidden bullish divergence, which is a continuation pattern. So like, you see the market come up a little, then you get the hidden div, and then the market continues up. So a hidden div is always a continuation, whereas a standard div, which would be like this, like you see the price coming down and then the waves coming up. That's always going to be at like the tops and bottoms of markets. Typically it's like a reversal sign or a local reversal sign when you see a standard divergence. But the hidden divergence is a good one to be able to track. So yeah, these are all lessons that like are original to me. This is FloppingGroper shit. It's FloppingGroper 101. You see the divergence here, price coming up, price coming down. But then there's also a bull div continuation in this shit. You see like the price coming up here with like a higher low, but the blue wave created a lower low there. So that was like a little bit of a hidden div where the price came up a little. We had the hidden div and then we can continued up in that direction. So at every wave junction, there's something going on. There's always disagreements between price and oscillator happening all the time. And also it's not limited to the blue waves. Like the RSIs can div, the yellow oscillator can diverge, the money flow can diverge, and a divergence doesn't have to be simply on one side of the zero line. Like I don't know if I can find one, but there's very strange looking divs. Like here's one here. So here the price came down. You see this, how the price created a lower high, but the waves, even though they started from below the zero line, the waves are trending up. So this is like a trickier form of wave disagreement to spot. But do you see how the market was going down and then we get the hidden div, and then we went down a little bit more, you know, like that. This was an example of a hidden div that didn't play out too well because we just hit this you know, like a cup and handle level and continued up. But there was a little bit of a downward short there from this like hidden, you know, and maybe it didn't play out as well because this is kind of a weird looking hidden div. It's like partly below the zero line, you know, but you can spot divs like that. They're everywhere. Dynamo says, you definitely opened my eyes to the power of Vwap. Thank you, bro. Happy to help. Jacob Samuels, good to see you in, man. Happy to live stream. If any of you guys follow my NickCipher Instagram account and like, bomb, and comment genuine comments on shit, and then join the VIP and send me a support ticket and tell me how you're doing. And I'll consider you for a crypto giveaway when this stream is over. And we can have a little chat if you want about how your trading's been doing. And that's about it today, guys. I'm just happy that I got my streaming working. I got through the swamp of figuring this shit out so I could go live for you guys. So thanks for being patient with me. And yeah, that's it for today. I think we've gone on long enough. Toodles, guys. Have a good one. God bless you guys. Check out NickCipher if you don't have it. Subscribe to my NickCipher Instagram and YouTube. And maybe not tomorrow, but the day after, I'll do another midday stream.